What's up, y'all? It's your girl Amanda, and we are back with another episode of Mandy's Entertainment Reviews. So, for this episode, we are doing the Whitney documentary. Now, not the movie that came out on Lifetime like in 2016, 2017. This documentary was actually released in 2018 by Miramax. So, this documentary used to be everywhere. It's not as everywhere as it used to be. I did get lucky. I ended up finding it on YouTube, uh, like the free movies and TV section. Now, not the bootlegging people who would just upload something from a screenshot on a tablet or TV. No, YouTube does have a section called free TV and movies, and it was free, but you have to watch ads just to get through it. Again, it was released in 2018. Now, this documentary with Miramax, it was very well produced. Um, production, great quality. But honestly, I think that this documentary did put Whitney in a much more bad light than any other movie documentary or anything I've seen about Whitney. Um, it shed light on the more bad, like her drugs and her not alcohol addiction, but mostly her drug addiction, and sometimes her crazy behavior during the time of her drugs. And also, most of the information I did kind of know. I did see not the Whitney movie that came out a long time. There was another Whitney movie called I Want to Dance to Somebody. That movie came out in theaters. I think it's on streaming now. Came out like 2022 or something. But I did see that movie as well. Also, the connection between I Want to Dance to Somebody and this documentary with Miramax is that Pat Houston, who runs Whitney's estate, she's also her sister now. She produced both of these subjects. As you guys know, I do my reviews in KWL. K is know, W is want to know, and L is learned. So, no, I know that Whitney Houston, she's considered one of the greatest voices of all time. In my family, my mother is a Whitney Houston fan. I'm a Whitney Houston fan. My great aunt is a Whitney Houston fan. So, multi-generational families can love Whitney Houston and know a lot of her music. Whitney is the daughter of Sissy Houston, who is a legendary gospel singer and also used to sing background for Elvis, and also John Houston, who worked in politics in New York, New Jersey back in the 1960s. She is the cousin of Dionne Warwick, and also she is the honorary goddaughter of Aretha Franklin. She was born in Newark in 1963. She grew up singing in church. She never really stopped singing church music. Like, if you guys know not the Bodyguard. Well, of course the Bodyguard too, but she did Jesus Loves Me and I Go to the Rock. But also she sang the Preacher's Wife soundtrack, which also covered a lot of gospel music. She was discovered by Clive Davis while singing with her mother in a club. She was about 18 years old, but she couldn't sign right away because her mother wanted her to focus on getting her education first. Then she could have a career. She had a successful singing career. We all know that. She married Bobby Brown, divorced him in 2006 after 13 years, so they married in 1993. Whitney was a singer as a model before she sang. She was one of the first black models in 17 magazine. She was on the reality show Being Bobby Brown. And if you guys want to know, like, where can I watch full episodes of Being Bobby Brown? They are on YouTube. I'm not sure if all of them are on YouTube, but I know some are on YouTube. The final album, I Look to You, was released in 2009. And I remember when that album came out, I was 14. And this was kind of the end of the era of going to the record store and buying CDs. I remember being at the mall. And here's a backstory. So when I was in middle school, my brother, I went to school in Indiana, and the closest mall to where I went to school was in Maryland, which is like 25 minutes away from where I went to school. And we would go to South Lake Mall. South Lake Mall had one of the biggest FYE, well, not really, one of the biggest locations of FYE that I've been to. And in like the front window or whatever, if they had a new release or something, they would they would put it in the window, and I remember seeing the poster for like Whitney Houston's "I Look to You" album, and she looked so beautiful. That album came out in 2009. She went on tour for it. It wasn't her best tour, I should say, but at least she did get a chance to go on tour, and people did get a chance to see her one last time. Another thing I knew, and I literally just found this out a couple weeks ago, was Bert Kirshner, who is a comedian. I'd never heard of him until like earlier this year. He told a story about how his daughter, I think, injured her jaw or something. And at the time, like, Bert wasn't at the level he is now. And he didn't know how he was going to pay for his daughter's surgery. And all of a sudden, it was covered. And he said it turned out to be Whitney Houston. So she had a heart of gold. Whitney Houston passed away from cocaine use and heart disease, which is some years of drug use. She passed away in 2012. She passed away February 11th. And how I know that is because it was 9 days before my 17th birthday. I was going to be 17 in 2012. John Houston died in 2002, and at that time, she was kind of at odds with her father because he wanted to sue her for $100 million. And also, Sissy Houston, her mother, recently passed away, really late 2024. W. And because I grew up with Whitney Houston's music, I grew up watching Diva with Bobby Brown, I grew up watching all the documentaries and stuff. Like, there wasn't a lot I wanted to know. I wanted to know about her time in Catholic school. I wanted to know Sissy's thoughts of Whitney singing secular music because she was a gospel singer. What was Bobby and Whitney's first date like? Will Bobby be in this documentary? What was her relationship in detail with her stepchildren? Did she really ever think about moving out of the country to a remote island? I did hear like rumors and stuff of her wanting to move to a remote island and selling fruit. And lastly, did she actually date Ray J? And how did Brandy feel about it? Because we all know that Brandy pretty much looked up to Whitney. I mean, there's video of Whitney meeting Brandy and Brandy screaming and crying and jumping all over the place. So how did Brandy feel about that? So here's the learned. The first thing I didn't realize is how hideous the "I Wanna Dance with Somebody" wardrobe is. So they didn't play the full video during the documentary, but I saw that Whitney had on zebra leggings with a black dress that I know just would not fly in 2025. It was just hideous. I mean, Whitney was beautiful, and her smile and her makeup was great, but the clothes was just terrible. I swear, the clothes was terrible. Whitney does remember the riots of 1967. The only reason why I say this is because she was like 4, and sometimes a 4-year-old don't really remember a lot of things. Sissy worked a lot, so it made Whitney stay with family. I don't know. I don't think they explained where John was at the time, but yeah, Whitney worked a lot, so she had to stay with family members and stuff. Sissy worked as the director of music at the family church. I just always thought Sissy Houston was a recording artist. I didn't know she worked in the church as well. Her father gave her her nickname Nippy, which everyone knows Whitney as, if you are in her close circle. Sissy's singing career wasn't as big as Dionne Warwick's, which I learned that, but that didn't surprise me because I didn't really know who Sissy Houston was until Whitney Houston died. And again, I was like 17, so yeah. Whitney went to Catholic school because Sissy wanted her to get away from the bullying. Whitney also had an older brother, not like Gary or Michael. She had an older brother named John, and I think John was from her father's side. There was rumors that Sissy had an affair with the minister of the church they attended, which at the same time does not surprise me because, you know, the church may seem holier than thou, but it's not always what it seems, and, you know, not everyone is perfect in church. Whitney moved out when she was 18 years old. She wanted to get away from her mother and the drama in the house. She was described as a simple person. Now, I would see pictures of Whitney Houston dressed up, beautiful, makeup, all that stuff, even from the 90s when I was born. But she, at the end of the day, was a simple person. And sometimes that, when you're showered in a bunch of stuff regarding fame, it's too much. And, being simple is just easier. Robert De Niro had a crush on Whitney, which is not surprising because Robert De Niro loves black women. John and Sissy pretended to be a happy married couple during the beginning of Whitney's career. I know inside it tore them up, and not like sadness because we're kind of separate. Like no, we have to keep up with the charade, but we can't stand each other. John Houston replaced Whitney's first manager. I always thought he was her manager up until he died. I didn't know she had a first manager and then he took over. Whitney's brother was drafted by the Denver Nuggets. That's Gary. And he failed the drug test and he became a background singer. Now, I always knew that Gary was a basketball player. I just always thought it was from an injury. And sometimes when you play injury, it kind of like stops your career or you just don't want to go back after playing and having a traumatic injury. But no, it was because of a failed drug test. So he became one of her background singers during her early days of touring. And speaking of her early days of touring, everything looked so much fun. Like they were singing and dancing and laughing and joking around in the videos that I saw. Everything just looked so much fun, honestly. And also, that was also revealed that she had started drugs at 16, and that was according to a family friend. I didn't catch his name, but he is an older gentleman, and that's what he revealed. So, background singer brother Gary Houston used to get Whitney's drugs while on tour, and I'm surprised it was Gary and not Michael, because that's who they got Whitney hooked on drugs. Bobby and Whitney used to dress alike, and the reason why I put that in there is because I can't stand couples who do that. Yeah, it's so annoying, and they used to do it heavy in like the 80s and 90s, because my parents, when they were together in the 80s and early 90s, they used to do that, and I see pictures of them, and it's so annoying, and I can't stand it, and I would yell and have a fit, even though they haven't been together in like almost 35 years or whatever. But yeah, it's annoying, and I can't believe Whitney and Bobby used to do it. Bobby Christina. So at this point of the documentary, Bobby Christina, she was born in '93. She's 2 years older than me. So Bobby Christina went everywhere because of Whitney's trauma. From Sissy being away and her having to stay with family a lot. So she really wanted Bobby Christina close to her. I Will Always Love You. In this case, I will definitely compare to Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar because of their heavy popularity. So, and how the impact of it. So, for I Will Always Love You, so people went to prison for playing it a lot. Saddam Hussein ended up using his own like Arabic version of the song, and then now it's similar to like the popularity, but instead of somebody going to prison, Drake is suing Kendrick Lamar, and people complain a lot about the song being played too much. So I Will Always Love You, and Not Like Us has the same popularity power. That's what I'm trying to say. Whitney did not want to be like her mother, divorced, which I completely understand. Nobody really wants a divorce. And according to Christian culture, divorce is bad. And Whitney loved the Lord, so she really, really, really wanted to live by that. Whitney used to smoke marijuana with cocaine, which that's not the best combination, but she did it. John Houston, as we stated before, John Houston sued Whitney for $1 million, but also it was revealed that he stole from Whitney as well, which is a shame. And they say that like money makes people go crazy, and it does. I think Whitney's money did make her family lose their minds. So yes, after being cut off, he sued her for $1 million because Whitney signed a record deal for $100 million. And this was back in the day, like if you signed a big record deal, it was all over publication. And I really, really looking back at it now, how the world has shifted to more crazy and more money hungry. They should not have done that. And it opened a lot of doors and opened the door for Whitney's life to go downhill from there. She didn't attend her father's funeral. And also, L.A. Reid was in the documentary, and he said that he knew nothing of Whitney's drug use because as an addict or as someone with mental issues, we don't, I don't have drug issues, I have mental issues, but we don't let people we want to impress or we care about or we don't want anyone to see us in a bad light, basically. So that's why she she hit the whole drug addict thing. It was the record company's idea of the Diane Sawyer interview, which I totally believe because Whitney didn't really do a lot of interviews towards like the end of her career. Like we rarely saw Whitney except in like paparazzi photos. During the early 2000s, in the late 2000s, she did regular interviews because of course she did like Sparkle and stuff. But during that time of her career, she rarely did interviews. Whitney didn't like that Pat would leave her daughter behind to go to business trips and stuff. Again, it does stem from the trauma that she went through with being left with her family. I look to you, Toro. It was because she ran out of money because of, mismanagement and being stolen from, and of course the drugs. And also, she did the movie Sparkle, and she had to be drug tested every week on the set of Sparkle. And with how great she looked in that movie, she passed those tests. And Sparkle was a really great movie. I saw it some years ago. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it on TV. So I do give this documentary a 3.9 out of 5. Only because I have a lot of dislikes. So I like the record footage of My Love. It's a song that Bobby and Whitney did. It's on the Just Whitney album. One of my favorites on that album. Her family was in it, so yes, Bobby was in it, Sissy, Gary, and Michael. The part with and Clive Davis. Clive Davis, of course, had to be in there because he discovered her. The part where Sissy, Whitney, and Robin were talking backstage after a concert made me laugh so hard because Sissy said something smart, like she sounded like shit or something, and Robin was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, Whitney Houston, she's been in the game for 30 years." It was so funny. Also, babyface Kevin Costner and L.A. Reid was in the documentary as well. Now, what I disliked about it was in the beginning how they mixed in like riot footage and all like the bad stuff with history in there, because I don't see what Whitney Houston had to do with like Martin Luther King being assassinated and stuff. Like it's about Whitney. It's not about like other events. Pat Houston was in it. Again, we all know for Whitney fans, we all know how evil Pat Houston is. And also, again, just mixing all the other tragic incidents in with the Whitney Houston documentary. Whitney Houston had nothing to do with, I don't know, like atomic bombs going off in 1940. Like, this is about Whitney. So yes, that is my review for the Whitney documentary. It is on YouTube. You guys can check it out. If you're a Whitney fan, like a diehard Whitney fan, and this is not your thing, don't check it out. But if you're curious after watching this review, check it out. Thank y'all for listening, and I'll see y'all soon.